This episode is brought to you by Big Eleanor Records, pushing pure creativity into underground since 2021.
You are the scene.
Hey guys, what's up? It's Nick on the scene with Martini. Today I got Jared from the Scandals and Mercy Union. How you doing today, Jared?
I'm all right. How are you?
Good. Thank you so much for coming on. I appreciate it.
Thanks for having me, bud.
We connected at SingUsHome and everyone was raving about how good your set was.
That's awesome.
Was that your first time playing there?
No, I think that's the third time. I've done it with Mercy Union. We did it on the main stage and did the VIP thing a couple times, and just grateful to have the open invite.
Yeah, it's a cool festival. It was my first time ever going and very well laid out and very thoughtful.
Yeah, it's comfortable, right?
For
Like,
sure. I like
that's
the access too. Like you just kind of everyone walking around having fun.
yeah, it feels it's like non-pretentious, comfortable, energy's high energy, positive energy. I'm not a big festival person with, anything with crowds like that at this point. I'm a little like over it. And I've always enjoyed this one. It just feels like everyone's kind of aware of their own surroundings and enjoying the time together,
For sure.
very rare experience.
Yeah, and it's cool too. I feel like Dave really hones in on the Philadelphia and New Jersey kind of bands, which is cool. Like you don't have, I mean, John Stewart came out, but like other than like there wasn't too many like people flying in and stuff. It was very like a hometown show for everyone in their own sense.
Yeah, I think it's a good combo of like things that you wouldn't expect to see, but also like the family vibe, which Dave's done a really good job of building over the years. Yeah, it's an awesome combo. Grateful to be a part of it.
So I just want to start out. Obviously, you have the lie, you have Mount Crushmore Records, you have all part of multiple bands, you have your own solo thing going on. Just kind of how you got into music. Like, what was your starting grace?
Oh man, growing up, I got into music in a bunch of different ways. There was a lot of music in my house. My mom was obsessed with Bob Dylan, and so in her company, we were only allowed Bob Dylan and his camaraderie. And then my dad listened to everything. So I was around music a lot. My sister gave me a lot of 90s stuff, which was awesome. That was a big help. Um, and then, in grammar school and everything was the new metal years. So I was finding that interesting and starting to play guitar. And there was a thing about the music I was listening to that wasn't necessarily accessible in terms of skill level or even just the idea that I could one day get there. I would watch like Hetfield and Kirk Hammett play and be like, how the hell does that happen? And then one of my best friends from growing up, who I started with the Scandals with, he played drums in the Scandals, Sam, showed up in the schoolyard one day with a burnt CD from his cousin Dave, and it was I think a Rancid and Operation Ivy like mix, but like two records, and that was it. My life was ruined from that day on. So thanks, Dave. Uh, and it became something that I could look at and go, this makes sense to me. This seems like I could get there skill. I could get to a place where this is comfortable and it looked fun. I never left town. I always wanted to leave, head out on the road, and rolling down the highway with your best friends like a bunch of pirates always was appealing. So yeah, that was the start of everything. I was about maybe 13 or something like that.
Now you're have a history of like being in like punkier bands, also doing like your own like acoustic, more singer-songwriter stuff.
hmm
But like looking at like just your Instagram and stuff, I was seeing like different merch pop up and like you got a Sick of All hoodie and stuff. So did hardcore have a pretty big influence on your kind of now music scene too?
Yeah, where I grew up, hardcore was pretty massive, especially the New York stuff. That was a lot of my friends were going to those shows and introduced me to that. And again, back in the Scandals days, we had a guitar player named Corey, and he was crazy into it, knew all the good stuff. So he educated me on the New York side of it. When I ended up meeting my now better half for many, many years, she got me into the New England side of it. She was a huge Bane fan. Um, so yeah, it kind of was just growing up. I was really into the street punk thing and all the squats and everything. So it's just a different version. It was more aggressive. It had a metallic thing going on. I loved the New York stuff. I loved the ignorant shit. I spent a lot of time at the Pyramid on Sunday matinees and fearing for my life because I was the tiniest person in there. But yeah, I've always loved that stuff. I have a lot of friends that play in those bands, and it just scratches an itch. I love how it's carved its own legacy out to a point of it's undeniable. It's been awesome to kind of watch that go through multiple generations and get even uh, bigger than I think anybody ever thought. So, I have a big toe in it. I'm a big fan of it for sure.
Now, I have two questions, but for my starter, kind of how you were introduced the same genre, but kind of different locations of the genre, which everyone knows, like your New England, your Cali, like every single type of hardcore is so different. Did you
hmm
feel like you resonate more with the New York side, or did New England sway you or win you over for a little bit?
I loved the melodic about New England. That was kind of that hooked me for a while. Just the big choruses, the pile on, that kind of thing. I love melody. I love hooks and stuff like that. And it's two different vibes.
Mm.
But there is something about New York that I can't. I grew up. I can see New York. I'm in Bayonne. I was going there. That was our kind of escape growing up. We would run away and go run around the city and stuff and go hit all those places. And so it was that backdrop was already in my backyard. I was very familiar with the area, familiar with everything everybody's talking about, and I could see these bands regularly, if I
Mm.
wanted to. I've seen Sick of It All. I mean, from every venue, from the tiniest, from back at the Court Tavern all the way with Webster Hall and all the way up. So um, that was just it was kind of talking right to me. Um, and I get that. I think that's kind of cool that when you're from a place, you could have a little. It's like rooting for your sports team.
For
It's
sure.
just
Yeah.
super relatable. But yeah, Casey was all going to Edge Day every year and stuff like that. She was living up there for a while, so she was tapped in with that vibe. She brought that down to me.
Was there like a band you're saying like how that's the cool thing too about our music, it's so accessible now. Was
hmm
there a band that you like always had to see? Like if they were playing that Sunday or that Tuesday, like you made sure you got there?
A hardcore band or a band in general?
Hardcore or both.
Uh, Hardcore. I mean, Sick of It All. Every time they played, I tried to be there. They were huge in Bayonne. That was like everybody because it was that mix. Like punk
Hmm.
kids loved it, hardcore kids loved it. There was a band called Billy Club Sandwich that I really loved. I haven't seen them in years. I used to see them at the Pyramid. Um, I never got to see No Redeeming. That was a band that I felt like I constantly missed, even though I wanted to see them all the time. Uh, who else did I go see? I used to see Caught in a Trap a lot. I mean, not New York, but every time Lifetime played, I was there from a certain point. Once they got back together, every time there was a Lifetime show, I had to be at that. Yeah, that those were the couple that I really loved. Billy Club was a big favorite.
I have to check them out. I haven't heard of them.
Oh, it's fun, man. It's fun stuff. That was a Pyramid band that I found a corner. I remember there was a back corner opposite of like the sound booth that I would just tuck myself in and make sure I just brace for whatever came down.
Elbows out before it even
Yeah,
starts.
yeah.
I get it. Me too. That's how I am. I'm not the biggest mosher. I mean, I appreciate it, but I hate getting hit so much. So I just kind of keep my distance.
I was just tiny, man. Like
Yeah.
I'm like 5'8", 150 pounds. So I would do like the climb on and the stage flip and then hide pretty much. Make sure those dudes weren't because some of those dudes were out for for blood. It was funny.
Yeah.
They'd see this little kid in the corner.
They're like, I'll make my way over there.
Oh yeah, yeah. There's no way out. There's no escape.
So being in like so heavily involved in that kind of scene, did you ever have a moment where you were like a part of like an early hardcore band or sang or like what was what kind of made you want to get into like the punkier side and the more singer-songwriter in comparison to hardcore?
I mean, I would say I was never really in I was a visitor to the hardcore scene. You
Hmm.
know, I listened to the music, I collect the records, I would go to the shows. I never was in a hardcore band, dabbled with a couple friends like on a weekend, let's get together and play heavier music. But nothing that ever was a thing. The Scandals used to once in a while play shows with hardcore bands, which was cool, you know, when you have a mixed lineup bill. I remember there was one at the Pyramid with like Backtrack and CDC maybe and Razorblade hand grenades. So there was some like wacky lineups that shouldn't
Yeah.
happen when we're, you know, doing this kind of circle pity like sing along stuff. But it worked. You know, we just played fast. We played as heavy as we could, you know, like cover a Kill Your Idol song once in a while that kind of, you know, like Hardly or something. Um, so I would say more of a an outside observer and appreciator than being fully immersed
Mhm.
into it. And a big part of it is it just wasn't how my brain worked, you know, like the riff based things. In terms of songwriting, the melody, lyrical, like kind of chorus thing has always been the thing that came a little naturally. So I've had to kind of work backwards to figure out how to do that riff based songwriting process, which I'm fascinated by. I love hearing my friends who do that kind of talk about it. I love jamming with them whenever they let me. But yeah, being in a heavier thing, I've told all my friends you just need a guy to play bass and kind of lay in the cut. I'm always I'm always down for that. As long as I don't have to book a show, drive the van, I'm there. You let me know.
So like having all of this like going sorry, I'm trying to think of the best way to phrase this. What was like your spark then to do more of like the folky singer-songwriter stuff as a solo act and being in Mercy Union? Like what kind of transcribed that? Was there some artists that specifically you resonated with, or was it kind of just you were saying like clicking in your brain kind of thing?
It's music that I've always ingested. It's music that I've always loved. And I guess going back to that thing I said before, there was something about punk that felt like I could get myself there myself. Just in terms of playing it, you know, learning the songs, learning how to cover rancid songs, and it's what taught me how to play guitar. It's what taught me how to write songs. Was just like absorbing this and really obsessing over the songs. And there was something about the singer songwriter thing that still felt a little just like unreachable. There was like a weight to it, or I don't know if it was like a maturity thing or something that I was like, I don't know how you get there, but I feel like I could maybe figure this out. So I would say I kind of got there because I've just been trying to figure out how to write songs since I was a teenager. And in the course of that, there were things that would be written that obviously wouldn't fit the Scandals or wouldn't fit something else. So I'd put it to the side and go, I'll figure that out later. And that's kind of what ended up becoming my first solo record, were all these songs that were maybe a little more personal, vulnerable, and definitely stripped down in the sense of just an acoustic guitar and maybe minor instrumentation. So it was kind of an accident. I mean, I love Tom Petty. I love things like that. And I think at some point I allowed myself to just fully immerse myself in it and become kind of obsessed with figuring that out too. It just became another tool in the toolbox. And it's been fun. It's been fun to bounce between the two and put the two together and kind of, you know, take things I learned being in bands like the Scandals and bring it into Mercy Union and the solo stuff even, because there's an energy there. I think the huge thing I connected with punk and hardcore was when you walk into a room, it's an energy unlike anything, you know. And as a young kid, it's it's very easy to feel like this is where you need to be every weekend. There's nothing that gave me that feeling, the adrenaline, the unity of it, the community. It was the best. Just sweating like that for 4 hours was the coolest thing in the world. So I have found with you know guys like me and Dave and Chuck and everybody like bringing that same energy to stripped down songs in a room, it translates and people really connect with that. And it's kind of an awesome thing to watch when that happens, you know,
Yeah.
when that same energy from those rooms of just dripping sweat gets brought out with just a song, you know, a guy and a guitar. It's tangible. So I find that exciting and I like all of it. It's fun to do.
I think it's cool too that you can do that with a lot of those kind of songs too. Like that, two artists that quickly come to my mind are Jeff from Thursday. He does a lot of that stuff, and Walter from
Yep.
Quicksand. Like
Yep.
I think it's cool when you can kind of hear. It's almost like a different perspective on the same song, which is like cool
Hmm.
too. Like with hardcore, like hardcore's all about perspective and how you interpret the songs and what they're trying to say. So it's cool to get that different vibe. But also too, like you were saying, like obviously, like you were with the Scandals in like the 2010s or early 2010s, was kind of having that solo music. Did you start after the Scandals, or was it kind of always a thing that you wanted to do? And because I know
It,
per Apple, which I use, 2015 is when you put out the Past Lives and Past
mhm.
lines. So I didn't know if
Yeah.
there's kind of like a gap between there.
Um, I was just always kind of writing those songs. I think the first song from that record that got written was in 2009 or 2010, and I just kind of stored it away and didn't touch it for a long time. My thing with the Scandals was, you know, we touched on some heavier stuff here and there, but my whole idea with that band was when you enter that room, whatever's going on that's fucked up or heavy or uh, like a down kind of thought, you leave it at the door and we have a half hour or whatever, how much time in here to like lose it. So I was reluctant to bring some of the really darker things, especially my existential crisis of that record. I just didn't feel it was compatible for the thing I was trying to do with the Scandals, and I didn't know where that fit. I didn't know if it ever would fit anywhere. I just knew that I was writing it and it wasn't the same. So yeah, basically it was a record that was never supposed to come out. Um, and then I had been playing solo shows a lot because I figured touring was the way that I wanted life to go. And if someone in the band couldn't go on tour at the time, I would take the show acoustic or offer to, or I kind of just I was raised in the mindset of you know, you hit it for 300 days a year and hopefully something sticks. And for better or worse, it got me, you know, it taught me a lot of things. And I would head out with that acoustic guitar and play house shows and open for bizarre shows here and there. And by 2015, I was offered a tour that was awesome. It was like a full US tour. And I was told it would be good to have some songs on the table. So that's how Past Lives came out.
Would you say there's a different sense of pride in putting out a solo work that's not as collaborative in comparison to like your Mercy Union and your Scandal stuff?
Um, I wouldn't say it's different. It definitely feels lonelier. Um, I wouldn't say there's like more that like I get more pride or like more fulfillment from the
Hmm.
solo thing at all. I think it almost feels scarier because it's just your name on it. And if someone says a song sucks, it's very directly your decision
Yeah.
making and your ability. You know, you don't share the hit with three other people of like maybe we collectively made this choice. It's I made this choice. So it's a little more intimidating to put the solo stuff out in the world just because it's that. And there's something special about the band thing where when everybody's putting in an ingredient, it feels like real magic, not
Hmm.
that the other doesn't, but it's one of those where only that combination would happen with those people. And, you know, yesterday before the song happened, it didn't exist. And now it does. I don't forget that feeling when I was 14, and I still don't in my 30s. It's a special thing.
And I want to go on to the Mercy Union stuff, but I also want to bring up too, in June, you'll be out of the country playing in Germany and stuff.
Yep.
Excuse me, sorry.
Yep.
I like your solo stuff. Like I'm trying to think of also the best way of saying it, like playing in Germany. Like obviously Germany's
hmm
huge, but what do you think, like, do the Germans really connect with your music, or is it just a place that like always welcomed like Mercy and the Scandals and stuff and kind of resonated? Like, what was like the idea behind of going across Germany?
I've been going to Germany now since 2014, almost every year except for the pandemic.
Oh, cool.
Um,
Okay.
yeah, growing up in the Scandals, a lot of the punk bands that we were friends with, a lot of the Boston bands, especially in Jersey, everybody went to Germany, and they would do full European tours. The first tour we did, I think, was like 6 or 7 weeks. It was a long fucking tour. Um, but the you'd be anchored, your foundation would be in Germany. And we'd play these youth hostels, youth centers, squats, uh, small venue like clubs. Um, and the thing was at the time and still now, there was a lot of young people actively participating in this thing to create a network where touring bands could come over and not just survive, but like flourish and grow. And you do one tour, you come back the next year, there be more people. It was the first time I ever saw that thing happen tangibly on
Mhm.
tour. Um, there was a it was the first time I experienced just having the flyer with band from the US. People would come. If they didn't like it, they would sure tell you they didn't like it at the end of the show, but they would, pay the $5 or $10 and they would come check it out because you were coming to their town, which, growing up in the tri-state area, there's 100 bands coming through a week. You couldn't possibly catch them all. And I think at this point, when you're of a certain age, uh, you it's not something you're actively looking for every day is like a new band to go to the bar, maybe if it's down the block. But there was a desire there to find what was going to be new, especially in the punk scene and the hardcore scene, stuff like that over there. So that being said, it immediately felt like the best place on earth for a band, an alternative band like that, to come over and feel not just welcomed but received well.
Mhm.
I mean, we had a place to stay every night, whether it was staying at the venues or the squash or somebody's house, or there was always a place to stay. People would buy merch that you were fed dinner every night, sometimes breakfast. It was unlike every aspect was different than touring here. So we fell in love with it and made a ton of lifelong friends and kept coming back. And I was fortunate to go on a couple tours there where I opened or did certain things to kind of give me the ability to keep coming back by myself for a really long time. So without Germany, I can easily say I probably would have stopped playing music a long time ago.
Is there any other like countries that kind of resonate really well with your music that you kind of feel like have the same appreciation and kind of give you as much as they do?
Um, Everywhere I go feels good. I haven't been to a ton of places, if I'm being brutally honest.
Hmm.
I hit a few spots in Canada when I can. I've never done a full Canadian tour. The UK is good to me in a lot of spots. Places like Manchester have felt like a second home, and that's crazy to me to have places like that. Um, I really enjoy going to. We used to go to Czech Republic a lot with the Scandals, and we haven't been back in a long time. Ireland felt good every time I was there, but yeah, Germany's just kind of like kept asking me back, if that
Yeah,
makes sense. So yeah, I can't
that's
deny
fair.
deny that. But yeah, it's the traveling and doing that thing and hanging with other people has been the best part of this. So I hope I hope I get to see many more places that allow that to happen.
Moving on to with Mercy Union, uh,
Yep.
like looking into it, like Mercy Union, I don't want to say like it almost seemed like an accident, but it kind of was just more casual and
Mhm.
it kind of grew into something a little bit more. Do you mind touching in on like how it started and like your involvement and going
Sure.
from there?
Yeah, total accident. Um, that happened. I'm trying to think of the year, maybe 2017 or so. Uh, I was hanging out with Benny getting coffee, and instead of getting coffee, we decided to go down into a practice space and jam. And he hadn't been playing in a while. I hadn't been playing with a group in a while. I'd been doing some solo stuff. And when we left, there was a skeleton of maybe two rough foundations of a song, and we did it again 2 weeks later, and there was another one or two, and I had a batch of songs that were intended to be my second solo record after Past Lives. So little by little, if we didn't have anything to jam on that day, I would bring one of those songs in, and all of a sudden it was done. Um, and after a few months of doing that, we looked around and said, think there might be a record here. And we brought in Rocky and Nick because I've known Nick since I was 12 years old. He's like one of my favorite people on earth, and he's kind of the musical uh, brain that I've always wanted. He thinks just so differently than everything I do, so it's an amazing contrast. And at the time, um, me and Rocky had toured so much together. We've sang so much together. He has a totally different voice than me. Another like a different writing style to contrast mine, and it felt like I was able to kind of put my own supergroup together. So that record, The Quarry, when it all came together, is a massive chunk of it my second solo record, what was intended to be, and it's funny when you hear that context. I think people can probably pick out which songs
Yeah.
would have gone, and then you can feel the ones that were because of this group coming together and figuring each other out and learning how to work with each other. And those, yep, there's my guys coming in,
My guy's
and
scratching, so I get
yeah,
it.
yeah. And then you can kind of hear with White Tiger how those things came together. So White Tiger to me was the band figuring out who we were, our own identity, our own voice, um, and leaning into it more. I'd say we leaned in 85%. And this newer stuff we've been working on, we recently put out a new single. To me, in my head, is the where we've entered the clearing where I see where Mercy Union stands as itself. But yeah, it was interesting. It was a really organic, and it's kind of something that I just rolled with until I wouldn't. It was a lot of fun.
What I mean, obviously the longevity of a friendship in a music scene kind of makes it a clear choice to pick people,
Mm.
but was there any like hesitation or anything with picking your final two guys to start rolling out music and stuff? Or was there a moment where you didn't know if it even was going to go further than like a two piece?
Mercy Union?
Yeah.
I mean, it was the four of us when it started, and that was the idea of if the four of us are going to play together and take it kind of seriously enough to push it, like to put money into making a record, to
Hmm.
to me getting another van again post scandals, and us putting a trailer on it and tacking a lot of miles. We were all in relationships, jobs, and families and stuff. So we kind of all had a group discussion and said, "Are we going for it? Yep, let's do it." And we did a lot of cool shit with that band. It's been a lot of fun. It's taught me a lot, a, a lot in many ways. And yeah, without these guys, especially, it's not Mercy and it wouldn't be called Mercy. And so, um, it's been cool. It's been it's been a really awesome way to get myself out of a certain headspace that I kind of came up in and allow my brain to kind of let go and be take chances in creative ways,
Mhm.
and kind of not care if anybody liked it or didn't like it. I hoped, you always hope somebody does, but it's been an awesome way to kind of crack that calcified thing of, you can get a little weird. You could try this, maybe it doesn't work. You can push and pull it. And those two guys have been crazy supportive of that always, and I appreciate that.
You were talking about like how you guys are starting like working on new music and you're slowly starting to put stuff out. April
Hmm.
3rd, you guys put out the Optimist stuff. And
Hmm.
what was kind of what made you guys pick that song to be, because obviously that some type of teaser of to maybe hopefully future things that we can
Hmm.
indulge in. But what kind of made you pick the Optimist over others you guys might be working on?
Uh, it's the first time I've ever written a song and released it in the headspace and environment that it was written in. It's very current. It is embodying a thought process and an energy that I think many people are feeling at this moment. And yeah, it just felt like something I had to get off my chest at the time.
Is it um easy to say that you guys are still going to continue working on new music and that's kind of like a teaser of something we'll maybe see this year or early next or
Yeah, we're in the process of working on some stuff. There'll be something new coming out in the next month or two. And then a lot of new solo music. So that's what I'm concentrating on. A lot of releases.
that's good. That's
Yeah.
awesome to hear. And you guys also recently got put on we were talking a little bit beforehand, the Messinger show.
Yeah.
What's it like getting put on? I mean, their hometown show, which everyone always shows out for the Messingers when they're in Philadelphia or even in like the greater Philadelphia area. What's it
It's
like being
awesome.
asked? Because they handpicked you guys to play on that kind of show. So
Yeah, we love those guys. I've been seeing that band play from my college bar at TCNJ to these massive festivals, these huge shows that they're headlining. It's an easy band to root for. They're amazing people. They write awesome songs. So uh, to get asked to do that's a blast. I'm looking forward to it. It's a crazy lineup, $500. We love a lot. Of course, Hot Water. And yeah, we did a great tour with them a couple years ago. We had an awesome time. Sometimes on tours, it can feel like everyone's in their own world. And these are guys that have felt the same to me since I met them a long, long time ago. So I appreciate them a ton. Some of my favorites.
and one of like the final topics too I want to touch on is you have Mount Crushmore Records, which releases Mercy Union,
Hmm.
releases your solo stuff as well as the releases other people's music and such. Obviously, it's pretty clear in your your Instagram bio. Or sorry, it was like you're a big record collector, is what I
Yeah.
was trying to go for. What was it like having that final, let's start Mount Crushmore, and what does it mean for you to be able to own a label like that to help put people out physical media and help bands kind of grow as well?
I mean, it started because I was sick of hearing people tell me no, pretty
Mm.
much. I had many years in the different bands of these very long-winded, winding roads of people kind of saying, "Yeah, we like the record, we like this." And I just said, "I'm just doing this myself, and I'm not gonna listen to this packaging's too expensive, this color variant." I was like, "I'll just figure it out. I'm an adult. I had 30 jobs. I'll figure out how to figure this out." Um, so yeah, I can't say it was something I have always wanted to do, but it became something that I needed to, and it's been really fulfilling because at the end of the day, it's my decision to do whatever. We all talk about what we want to do with the artwork, what the plan is, and when it works, we celebrate the success. When it doesn't, we take the L ourselves, and it feels good because it's super creative. It's working with our hand. I send out every package myself, everything about that label and is just incredibly personal. So putting out other people's stuff wasn't something I ever intended to do either. It was kind of like a COVID, like let's throw something to the wind. And I
Hmm.
reached out to Zopa and they were down to release their record, which was a lot of fun. And yeah, I've been fortunate to be able to help a couple people and a couple great bands. And recently I've been kind of dipping a toe in photo books and doing some stuff like that. I've been shooting a lot of film photography, so I'm trying to find a way to just kind of keep some physical media on the table and not have everything live in these little boxes that we're constantly carrying around. Um, because there's just something nice about holding it in your hand, looking at the artwork and feeling it from your hand to the turntable or opening up a book on your coffee table is an experience that I love. So hopefully somebody else does.
Yeah, and you're talking to the right guy because I'm like the biggest physical media guy in the world. I
Hell
feel
yeah.
I would rather buy a book so many more times than ever read something on like a Kindle or
Yeah.
something about just holding it. And two, like it helps the artist more than those digital because those corporations take so much. It's
Hmm.
disgusting what they take.
Yeah.
But two, like with Mount Crushmore, like how reaching out to Zopa, which is really cool that you guys have Zopa on. Which people don't know, it's Michael from The Sopranos, so it's pretty. That's a pretty cool get, and
Yeah, it's fun.
it's a very New Jersey, very New Jersey band to have.
Yeah, funny.
How did the others kind of come about, and are you guys still actively accepting or seeking out people to join your label?
I can't say we are or we aren't. Right now I'm concentrating. I have a little backlog of releases, mostly my own and the bands and some photo related things. So I'm a little jammed up at the moment.
Hmm.
But if something comes that's awesome or a friend needs a little help, I'm always down to figure it out and hear it out. And that's kind of how most of the groups have been. It's either people I've known forever that I really believe in, and just kind of want to lend a hand in any way, or a young band that I believed in and thought was cool and could maybe, I'll never forget the feeling of having my record pressed to vinyl for the first time. To me, that was like an ultimate. This is here. This is timeless. This is something that's going to last forever. So being able to kind of help someone see that through to the end zone is an awesome experience. So yeah, it's not my main focus at all. It's not
Yeah.
something that I'm beating down the doors of, but I love doing it when it happens. So it'll always kind of be something in the background for sure.
Yeah, and something organic as that, it's cool too. Like even if you guys aren't putting out 100 releases, the ones that you guys are putting out mean more than putting out those 10 bands that you might not even have any connection with or
Yeah, I don't have any energy for that at all, like I have to care about it a little bit, to be able to put that time and sacrifice that space in my basement.
Yeah.
That's really the most that's the most part. uh these records take up a lot of damn space, I'll tell you that. But yeah, that's it. If it's cool and exciting, I like being excited about it.
For sure. And I just want to say thank you so much for coming on to the
Yeah,
podcast. It means a ton.
thanks for
Uh,
having me. I appreciate it.
Guys, there'll be a ton of links down below. For starters, Jarrett will be going to Germany in June, which,
Hmm.
funny enough, my main European supporters, I think about 15% of my audience is German, which is kind of a lot
No
for
shit.
considering I've never even really advertised in Germany
I
at
love
all.
that. I
Yeah.
love that.
So I have a
That's
lot of
amazing.
German friends out there. So make sure you check out Jarrett. Also, too, in November, the Messingers will be coming to Philadelphia, and you can see Mercy Union. And as always, Mount Crushmore store is open. I know I was looking at it a little earlier today. So
Cool, man.
yeah, come out, see some shows, and say hi. Till next time.
Yeah. Hell yeah. Cheers.
Peace, guys.